The following message has been sent by the request of civil authorities of Mississippi. As of 6:40 a.m. Central Standard Time, shelter-in-place warning has been issued for Jackson and Harrison counties in extreme southern Mississippi until further notice. At 6:38 a.m. Central Standard Time, a very large military plane crashed down near the National Guard Estuarine Research Center, or very close to the Chevron Pascagoula refinery, which might contain flammable objects inside. Firefighters have been sent to deal with this situation, as there is currently a large fire occurring just 1/3 of a mile west of the Chevron Pascagoula refinery. If you're within a 2-mile radius of that refinery, it is highly suggested that you shelter in place. If you're caught outdoors, on a boat, or in a car, get to the nearest substantial shelter if you can. If you're on a boat, get off to the nearest land area that isn't too close to the Chevron Pascagoula refinery area. There is also rumors that there is most likely some extremely harmful content inside the flames other than the heat and smoke by itself, as the flames have already killed at least 12 motorists that got within a 5-foot radius of this fire. Repeating, a shelter-in-place warning has been issued for the Jackson and Harrison counties in extreme southern Mississippi until further notice. The following message has been sent by the order of the Mississippi Emergency Management. Civil authorities have issued the shelter-in-place warning for the following areas: Pascagoula Metropolitan Statistical Area and the Gulfport Biloxi Metropolitan Statistical Area in extreme southern Mississippi until further notice. At 7:21 a.m. Central Standard Time, 2 large military planes have crashed into the coastal Mississippi areas. The 2 new impacted locations are the runway at the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport and near the hangars at the Keesler Air Force Base. Those areas contain a lot of plane fuel, which is extremely flammable, and hence, the Keesler Air Force Base and the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport must be evacuated immediately. It is currently not known where and or even why those planes are crashing, but there is no doubt that this is related to the plane crash near the Chevron Pascagoula refinery. If the plane crash flames don't get put out before they hit the Keesler Air Force Base, not only will there be a massive fire, but there is a significant possibility of radioactive material being released and/or possible nuclear explosions, because there is a high possibility that the Keesler Air Force Base is containing nuclear bombs due to the nuclear bomb shipping recently. However, that cannot be confirmed as of yet. Citizens have also reported that the planes caught fire in very unusual spots that would be seen only during either an undetected conventional missile or a rupture tank for all 3 plane crash incidents. All residents in the Pascagoula metro area and the Gulfport Biloxi metropolitan area will need to shelter in place. The flames have also spread, and it is confirmed that they are containing large, toxic, and very deadly samples of mercury smoke. The flames from all 3 plane crashes, combined, are confirmed extremely dangerous to life and property, as the flames have already burned and/or suffocated and killed at least 440 civilians. Turn off all ventilation systems, and if you do spot a flame nearby, evacuate if you can. Evacuation isn't 100% suggested as of yet, but it's somewhat a good suggestion, but isn't mandatory. Repeating, 2 large military planes have crashed, releasing flames and large quantities of evaporated mercury in the air. Don't go outside for any reason, unless you're already caught outside on a boat and trying to find shelter, or trying to get in your vehicle, if you have one, to evacuate the areas. It isn't mandatory but still lightly suggested to evacuate the area if you can in the next 5 minutes. We will bring updates on this extremely dangerous situation as soon as we possibly can. Civil authorities have issued a civil emergency message for the entire Gulf Coast of Mississippi. At 7:24 a.m. Central Standard Time, at least 4 submarines were spotted by scuba divers from various boats across the Gulf of Mexico, currently located 9 miles south of the Gulf Coast, moving northward at 4 miles per hour. It isn't confirmed or not if the submarines are exactly hostile or the cause of the plane crashes due to some electronical glitches in several planes recently could have likely also have been a culprit, but should be avoided at any costs. In case they are confirmed hostile and do attack any more planes, then an evacuation will be mandatory. Also, the refinery is close to catching fire even though the firefighters are trying their best to extinguish the flames. 4 planes with fire retardant have even came in for help, but they apparently don't contain enough fire retardant, meaning that an explosion of the refinery, if it contains any flammable or harmful material, could potentially be imminent. So just in case, it's highly suggested to evacuate. If you are within a 2.5-mile radius of the refinery, it is highly suggested to evacuate, yet not mandatory. We will take a look at the substances inside the refinery as soon as we possibly can. The Keesler Air Force Base and the Biloxi Gulfport International Airport also can't be put out. We will continue to observe the flames and the submarines to see if any more approach and/or attack us. Take evacuation precautions now while you can, just in case an attack becomes imminent. This is not a test. I say again, this is not a test. Important instructions will follow. The following message has been sent by the order of the National Guard. At 7:41 a.m. Central Standard Time, it has been confirmed that the substances in the refinery are, indeed, extremely harmful and flammable. Also, multiple witnesses claim that a missile from the submarines caused 7 more plane crashes all over numerous locations across the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and there are confirmed to be at least 29 submarines attacking the Mississippi Gulf Coast. A mandatory evacuation has been sent out to anyone in the Mississippi Gulf Coast. There is no time to grab supplies, as those missiles move at a very high rate of speed. Numerous evacuation routes have also been assigned to be not only away from all the impact sites of the 3 original plane crashes, but also all places with very flammable substances. At 7:40 a.m. Central Standard Time, the Gulfport Biloxi International Airport has caught fire and triggered several plane fuel explosions, powerful enough to possibly cause a chain reaction of other stored planes to be exploding. The Keesler Air Force Base is also close to exploding, as there are, indeed, nuclear bombs inside the Air Force Base. Evacuate the entire Mississippi coast immediately. Military, Navy, and Air Force personnel have been called in to deal with this situation, but it might not be the most effective route so far, because at least 12 personnel have already been killed. This is a mandatory evacuation for anyone within a 220-mile radius of the entire Mississippi Gulf Coast. Hazards: hostile watercraft and multiple explosions. Source: numerous eyewitness reports confirmed watercraft and explosions. Impact: you're in a catastrophic and extremely dangerous situation. The fumes will be fatal when breathed in instantly, as there is an extremely high likelihood of multiple explosions from nuclear bombs. The flames and explosions are extremely dangerous to life and property, as the fumes from the explosions caused at the refinery and the airport have already burned and/or suffocated and killed at least 2,500 civilians. Evacuate the areas immediately. If you're still in a car, turn off all heating and ventilation systems. If you don't have a vehicle, or you have a basement at the very least, get into the basement. Turn off all electricity in your homes. If you know a few people who don't have basements, let a couple of them in. If you don't, then go to the nearest fallout shelter. Civil authorities will lead you to one if you don't know the way to a fallout shelter. The National Guard will not be capable of helping you in the next 14 days. The bombs will explode in the next 7 to 13 minutes. Evacuate this area immediately. This is an extremely dangerous and catastrophic situation and should be taken seriously. Evacuate immediately. Repeating, hostile watercraft are attacking the Mississippi Gulf Coast, as there is an imminent risk of nuclear bombs at the Keesler Air Force Base exploding in a short amount of time. If you're caught out on rural areas before you are able to get near a public fallout shelter or personal nuclear shelter, lie flat in the nearest ditch if there's no sturdy building nearby. If you have a sturdy building or are already in one, get there or stay there. Get in the most interior room of that building if possible. Block off any possible entrances with as many large house appliances as possible, and if you are able to grab necessities, do so right away. Repeating, an imminent nuclear explosion will occur in the Mississippi Gulf Coast area. All civil authorities across the state of Mississippi have confirmed that the threat of any nuclear explosion to be officially over. Emergency action termination has been transmitted for the entire Gulf Coast of the United States. At 7:46 a.m. Central Standard Time, the nuclear bombs have been disarmed by a bomb team, and the bombs have been in a concrete structure in a remote undisclosed location. However, just a few minutes after disarming the bombs, the passenger jet planes have all exploded, as the flames and explosion debris spread for up to 1.5 miles from the original explosion sites. Regardless, at 4:04 p.m. Central Standard Time, all 29 of the hostile watercraft have all been killed successfully, and at 5:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, the flames have finally been put out after almost 11.5 hours today. However, there is massive damage and numerous fatalities, estimated to be between 14,000 and 19,000 fatalities from this attack in the flames. At least 250,000 acres were entirely burned down, and over 20,000 structures, 22 planes, and numerous vehicles were destroyed. Thankfully though, the threat of any flames or any nuclear attack is officially over. However, due to massive damage in the vast majority of the metropolitan areas, traveling back to either of those areas has been confirmed illegal for the next 36 hours. All stations may return to regular programming.